So everybody, watchOS 11 has been out on the public beta side as well as the developer beta side for about a month now at this point, and I've been using it ever since the first original developer beta 1 release, and I've been absolutely loving it, from the quality of life updates, the new fitness features, and everything in between. So in this video, what I'm going to do is talk about all the different features that I use on a day-to-day basis, especially as somebody who's essentially addicted to their Apple Watch at this point, and I know that I'm not alone. So let's get into this video and talk about watchOS 11 and all the features that you need to try out the moment you install watchOS 11. Let's get into it. So let's hop right into this video, everybody, and I do want to preface this by saying I'm using an Apple Watch Ultra Gen 1, so I'm not using the Gen 2, but everything that I mentioned in this video will be compatible with any supported watchOS 11 watch. So whether it's an Ultra 1, an Ultra 2, a Series 7, as long as your watch supports watchOS 11, you'll be able to have all of these features. And then I am using a 15 Pro Max running 18.1 beta, while watchOS 11, I believe, is on beta 5 now at this point. But once you get everything in the public, these are the first things that I think you should try. And we are splitting this up into two different sections. Section 1 being all about quality of life updates, and then Section 2 is going to be mostly about fitness focused updates when it comes to working out and things of that nature. And I'll leave timestamps down below if you guys do want to jump around. Now, my very first one that I want to bring up, and it's one of my favorite ones, is the Now Playing Widget. So with watchOS 10, if you had any media playing, it would pretty much take up your entire screen for your media controls. But now, so let's say if I go into Spotify, and this works with pretty much any media coming from either the Apple Watch or the iPhone, and I press play, you can see that immediately my cards show up, and then I do get a nice little Now Playing or media control, and it comes up to the very top. So it's going to be persistent while it is playing, and I can obviously pause it if I want to. So if you look on here, I can press play, and it does play it. And like I said, this is going to work with all media, from music from Spotify or Apple Music to YouTube videos and everything in between. And then if I do want to get some more media controls, you can tap into it, and then it takes you back to that classic media control look that we've had in the past. And I can just press play, and it'll start playing that media as well. But I like this new kind of card look because it's easier to interact with, it's not in the way, and it's just a little bit more efficient, which is going to be the name of the game when it comes to the Apple Watch, especially with watchOS 11. Another awesome quality of life update will be notifications. So previously, to pull up notifications, you have to swipe down and then look at all your notifications, but now Apple actually reduced the steps by just being able to scroll with the scroll wheel, scroll down, and then you get right into your notifications here. So again, a little bit easier to access, it's nice and simple and easy to really look at and find, so being able to just pull down on the scroll wheel to get your notifications, I think is a big win from a user interface standpoint. And now yes, we're going to talk about the Vitals application and the training load thing and all that good stuff in the fitness section, but Apple actually introduced a brand new application to watchOS specifically, and that's going to be the Translate app. So the Translate app now has a dedicated application to the Apple Watch, not just on the iPhone itself. And of course, it's very self-explanatory. It supports up to 20 different languages. By default, I have it as English and Spanish, and you can interact with this via your voice, as you can see the little microphone right there, or you can go into the three dots, your ellipses, go to preferred input method, and then change it to text. So if you do want to text to translate on the actual Apple Watch, which again can get a little bit dicey in terms of how small that keyboard is, if I were to do it, I would probably only do it on the Apple Watch Ultra, but that is an option there for you if that's something you want to get into. And then of course you do have some autoplay translations, as well as being able to change the pronunciation speed from slower to faster. So all things that are kind of welcome upgrades to the Translate app, especially to basically a mini computer on your wrist that you're going to be taking with you all over the place. Another huge one for me personally is going to be sleeping, right? Or sleep tracking essentially. And there's going to be two things here that are very, very important to me personally. First and foremost, you no longer have to physically be in your sleep mode in order to track your sleep. So with watchOS 11 and previously, you would need to be in sleep mode in order for sleep to kind of engage and then start to actually track your sleep. Versus now, it'll actually auto-detect if you are sleeping and begin to track your sleep that way. Which I think, again, is a great quality of life upgrade, because even if you take a nap or anything like that, it'll track that sleep as a full sleep, and then you can kind of go back to your data and see exactly what was going on. But then secondly, if you are somebody that did go into the sleep mode, like maybe you have your sleep situations set up. So if I go back into sleep mode on my phone, as you can see, it's going to take over on the Apple Watch itself. Before, if you wanted to actually use your Apple Watch when it was in sleep mode, you'd have to tap on the screen, as you can see I'm in sleep mode, and then you'd have to hold down the digital crown for about 5 seconds, and then it would open up the actual screen. Now, if you just tap it once, you are now able to then use your Apple Watch as if it's not in sleep mode, even though it still is in that sleep mode, which I love to see. So again, making it a little bit more accessible, a little bit more efficient, and things that I'm sure people complained about from watchOS 10 are now being fixed in watchOS 11. Now next up, when it comes to brand new applications on the Apple Watch, we actually got another dedicated application that was kind of a surprise, and it kind of makes sense because Apple, I think, purchased it relatively recently. But Shazam got its own dedicated application, and it's under music recognition. It's not called Shazam anymore, but if you tap on here, obviously it'll turn on Shazam, it'll welcome Shazam music recognition, and then you can start to actually continue and listen to whatever song is playing. So that is a brand new application that, even though I think we had the feature built in natively before, especially on iOS, we now have a dedicated application on watchOS 11. The next thing I want to bring up is the dynamic nature of these cards right here, these widgets that you're able to customize. So first and foremost, obviously you can customize them yourself. You long press on here, you can actually pin some, you can remove some, you can add any that you want. So you can see that I have a bunch down here, and then it even gives you some suggestions to kind of mess around with if you do want to play with it. But what I like about it is that you almost don't even really need to think about it. So if I check on here, and let's say for instance, I set a timer. So set a 1-minute timer. Obviously this timer is going to be relatively important. Maybe you have some cookies in the oven or something that you're timing. So that is going to be your first card that shows up in your widgets, and it's going to persist that way until you actually stop it, or it finishes off, or whatever the case may be. So you can see that you can interact with this widget, and it's going to be the first card on top because it's dynamic, and it's going to assume that this is the one that you're going to want to see at the very top when you are using something like the timer. And this works with pretty much any other live activity, so whether it's an Uber, or maybe a Starbucks coffee, or even a score of a live game, it'll show up first and go over whatever you had physically placed down here, as you can see. So that's awesome to see. I'm going to pause it and kind of end it right there. You can swipe it away by pressing the X button. Clear the widget, and you're good to go. Another fun one that showed up is with watch faces. We got a new photo watch face. So if you long press, I already pulled one up and created one. It basically takes a photo of whatever you have in your library and then put the time on the left-hand side. Or again, they say that they use machine learning to get this done, to be able to pick the right photo and pick the right size of that photo. So I think it is fun, but you do have to set it up, like I said, on your Apple Watch or on your actual iPhone first. And to do that is actually very simple. You go on here, and then you go to your new watch faces, you tap on the photos, and it'll suggest based on people shuffle. You can choose nature, cities, whatever the case is, and you can customize it to however you see fit. But now let's get into this fitness aspect. So the first thing I'm gonna bring up, because there's a bunch of new changes that again are just gonna make you more, for lack of a better term, reliant on the Apple Watch. Like for instance, my relationship with the Apple Watch is if I don't have the Apple Watch on, I am not working out. Like I wanna be able to track my steps, track my heart rate, my workouts, and again, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but I do rely on this Apple Watch pretty intensely when it comes to fitness. But what is nice about it is that now if you go to your rings, and let's scroll all the way up, and if you tap on your actual rings themselves, you have two new options. The first one is going to be pause rings. So pausing rings allows you to mute coaching and goals while tracking to maintain your move streak. So I know that there's a lot of people that really go hard on their move streaks and things like that. I tend to be somewhat like that, but on the weekends I actually don't work out, and it does frustrate me a little bit that sometimes I don't hit my move goals and then it ruins my streak. So that is what this pause rings is for. So you can go in here, pause your rings. You can do it until Monday, until September, or choose a custom one, because maybe you're somebody that works out 5 times during the week, but then on the weekends you really just kind of disconnect and don't work out at all, but you don't want your streaks to end, so you can pause your rings up to, I believe, 90 days out, and of course you can go back into them whenever you want to. And then something else that's really cool in that same light is that you have the ability to change your goals based on a custom schedule. So again, maybe you're somebody that only works out Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but they are very intense workouts, and you want to make sure that those goals are very high on those days. You can go in here and change it on a per day basis. So maybe on Monday I want 700, but then on Tuesday it's my off day, so I only really need to hit like 300 or 400 calories burned in that kind of situation. So being able to change it on a per day basis or on a custom schedule, so you're still able to close your rings and you're still able to reach your goals, but Apple isn't dictating directly that, hey, every single day you have to burn 700 calories. If not, those days don't count. And same thing goes for the weekends. You can bring it as low as you want or as high as you want. I like this custom schedule, and it's very easy to use. And of course you can use your iPhone as well to change all these goals. So a few things that I do want to bring up with the fitness app itself on your iPhone is, first and foremost, you can see that there's a little bit of a redesign here, which is cool to see. You kind of have these cards now, and what's awesome is that you can actually rearrange them the same way you rearrange a home screen. So you long press down here, we can press edit, and then you can actually change each one of these individually. So maybe you have a running widget and you want to see a certain metric that's kind of in this card right now, so you can do that. But then also, if you scroll down, you can actually edit the summary, and then you go into wiggle mode. So you're able to move these around. So if I want to put the running, maybe you grab this and move it down here, you can do that. Or if I want to bring my awards up here because I want to see what I'm earning, that's all fine and dandy. And then of course you can remove them or add any more that you see fit. So I like that nice little upgrade. And like I mentioned, those daily goals, you can actually change them on here. So if I scroll down, you can change the goals, and now you can actually set a move goal, change it up. So as you can see on the weekends, so you can see I have it set up that on the weekends, it's actually less calories needed to actually close my rings versus the weekdays. So you can do that from your phone, like I mentioned, or from the Apple Watch itself. Well, all right, everyone, now let's get into the brand new training load feature, which is live with watchOS 11. And I will say, the first time you install it or download it, you're gonna need to give it some training data. So I believe it takes up to 14 different workouts for it to really kind of load up, but you can retroactively go to your previous workouts from before when you were on watchOS 10 and then give it a training load score. But let's get into training load to see exactly what it looks like. But basically, you do get a new button in this actual fitness wheel. So on the top right hand corner, you see a little graph. If you tap on that graph, this is going to be your training load. Now, training load is something that they kind of put together where they basically take the metrics of your duration, your heart rate, all these different health variables during your workout to let you know, how well you've been working out comparative to what you've been working out in the past. So you can see I haven't worked out today, so my training load is a little bit lower than normal. You can move it around, so Monday was a little bit better. I was actually doing much better towards the middle of last week. I did have a little bit of an injury, that's why I haven't been training as hard, but you can see that my training load is on the decline. So this is a good indicator to let you know, hey, you either aren't working out as much or not working out at all, and if you are working out, you aren't training as intensely as you were before. So that's what this is telling you to kind of give you an idea of what's going on, and then you can even filter it based on traditional, running, working, all day. Depends on what type of workouts you actually want to track. If, for instance, I start a workout, let's open up a workout, maybe I'll do a quick little outdoor walk, even though I'm sitting down. We'll let it start. So this is a great segue into another little feature that I want to show off, which is the check-in feature. So if you're working out and you want to, maybe you go on long runs by yourself, maybe you run at nighttime and it could be a little bit dangerous, and you just want to make sure that people are aware that you're working out. If you swipe to the left, you have the ability to press this check-in button, and it'll send a little check-in to whatever friends you want to show this off to make sure that, hey, you're checking in, let them know that you're on a workout, and that you'll check in again when you're done. So now that this is done, let's actually finish this workout, end it. So one nice thing is that you're able to then go into your workouts here, like this is a workout from yesterday, and then you have the ability to add effort on here. So if I tap on here, you can rate it yourself based on how much you think you actually worked on this one. So did you go all out that day? Was it kind of hard? Was it more moderate? Or was it just very easy and you were just trying to get some steps in? So basically what Apple's going to be doing with this training load is taking into account what you personally rate yourself, what Apple rates it yourself, and then the duration as well as your heart rate during your workout in order to then give you a training load update when it comes to actually looking at your training load. So you can see this is a weightlifting workout. I use a certain app for it. I rated it as a 6 in terms of how hard it was on a 0 to 10 scale. So that's how you're actually going to be measured with training load, and then that data will be then superimposed onto a graph that lets you kind of see exactly what's going on when it comes to your training load overall. Then you'll be able to see how hard you've been working and then adjust accordingly if you want to train harder or kind of take it easy based on the data. And now the very last piece I do want to share is going to be the new Vitals application. As you can see, you can actually access it from your training load, but also it is a dedicated standstill application. So if I scroll all the way down pretty much somewhere around here, you tap on Vitals, and this is a brand new application that Apple put together to give people an idea at a glance of what their overall health is like, right? So it basically takes 5 different measurements, especially during your sleep. So this is actually taken into account while you're sleeping. It takes into account your average heart rate, your respiratory rate, your wrist temperature, your blood oxygen level, and then finally your sleep duration. And then it puts you on this scale right here to let you know exactly how well you've been doing. So if you look at the more info, it shows you your typical settings for all these different metrics. So all of your overnight vitals are within their typical ranges, or you have some outliers when a change has been observed between one of your metrics compared to your recent baseline. So this is a good way to kind of see what's been going on. Maybe one night you were out late and you only got 3 or 4 hours of sleep, so your vitals will be changing a little bit. And of course, like I said, as you scroll down, it'll break it down based on different metrics that you're looking at. And then you can even do it on a day-to-day basis. So last night, 41 beats per minute. And then respiratory rate was a little bit on the lower end, wrist temperature was on the higher end, then you have your blood oxygen, but again, you're still within the normal ranges, which is great to see. And I love this Vitals app because I would go back into the actual health application, look at all the different health metrics. You know, there's probably like hundreds of health metrics and Apple's kind of taking into account and then assuming, versus now with this Vitals application, I just look at it at a glance, make sure I'm good, and if I'm not, I'll just look at that one outlier, see what's going on, and then make the necessary corrections if I do need to do something. But that is the Vitals app, and I think this is going to be a great at-a-glance measurement of your overall health rating, and I can see people really adopting this nicely. So between the Vitals app, training load, and all those quality of life updates, watchOS 11 was a very welcome upgrade. Let's finish up this video. So that would just about do for this video, everybody. As you saw, watchOS 11 brought a ton of quality of life upgrades to be able to kind of make it a little bit easier and more efficient to use your Apple Watch. It also brought things like the Vitals application, the training load, some more fitness-focused features for those people that really like to take advantage, like myself, of tracking your workouts, as well as tracking everything through the health application. I have a whole idea for another video about talking about my relationship with the Apple Watch and how I'm essentially addicted to this thing, and I feel like maybe my day doesn't count if I don't have it on, and let me know if you're in the same boat when it comes to that. But I definitely overall think that having an Apple Watch is a net positive because it kind of incentivizes you to live a healthier lifestyle overall. But I'm gonna end it right there and save the rest of it for a future video. But that'll do it, everybody. Let me know in the comment down below what your favorite watchOS 11 feature is, and let's discuss in the comments. And also let me know if you installed it via public beta or developer beta, because I'm curious to know if you've actually been using it at all, or if you're gonna wait for the public release come September. But that'll do it, everybody. If you wanna watch another video like this one, YouTube thinks you're gonna like this video up here, and I think you're gonna like this video down here. But that'll do it. I'm Fernando. Until next time, peace.